Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the vast expanse of human experience, guided by the principles of rigorous inquiry and poetic expression. Today, we find ourselves in the midst of one of the most pivotal moments in modern history, the Battle of the Bulge. This epic struggle, which took place during the winter of 1944 to 1945, was a testament to the unyielding resolve of human beings in the face of overwhelming adversity. As we delve into the origins of this cataclysmic event, let us transport ourselves to the rolling hills and dense forests of the Ardennes region, situated in the heart of Europe. It is here, amidst the snow-covered landscapes of Belgium, Luxembourg, and France, that the stage was set for one of the most brutal and transformative battles of World War II. The Ardennes, with its rugged terrain and limited road network, had long been considered a relatively quiet sector of the Western Front, where the Allied forces had established a thin line of defense. To understand the precursors to the Battle of the Bulge, we must first examine the events that unfolded in the months leading up to the battle. In June 1944, the Allies had launched a massive invasion of Nazi-occupied France, known as D-Day, which marked a significant turning point in the war. As the Allies pushed deeper into Europe, they encountered increasingly fierce resistance from the German army. By the autumn of 1944, the Allies had reached the borders of Germany, and the Germans were desperate to halt their advance. It was against this backdrop that Adolf Hitler, the German leader, began to formulate a plan to launch a counterattack through the Ardennes. The plan, code-named Wacht am Rhein, aimed to split the Allied forces and capture the strategic port city of Antwerp, which was a vital supply hub for the Allies. Hitler believed that by launching a surprise attack through the Ardennes, he could catch the Allies off guard and deal them a devastating blow. The planning for this operation began in September 1944, when Hitler summoned his top military commanders to his headquarters in East Prussia. The meeting was attended by Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt, the commander-in-chief of the German army on the Western Front, as well as General Walther Model, the commander of the German army group that would lead the counterattack. Hitler's plan called for a massive assault of the Ardennes, with the goal of breaking through the Allied lines and capturing Antwerp within a matter of weeks. As the Germans began to prepare for their counterattack, they faced numerous challenges. The Ardennes region was heavily forested and mountainous, making it difficult to move large numbers of troops and equipment. Additionally, the German army was severely depleted, with many of its best units having been destroyed or weakened in previous battles. Despite these challenges, Hitler remained resolute in his determination to launch the counterattack, and he poured all available resources into the operation. The Allied forces, meanwhile, were unaware of the impending German attack. They had been expecting a quiet winter in the Ardennes, and many of their units were under strength or poorly equipped for the harsh winter conditions. The American army, which bore the brunt of the German attack, was led by General Dwight D. Eisenhower, who would establish his headquarters in Paris. Eisenhower's forces were spread thin across the Western Front, and he had few reserves available to respond to a major German counterattack. As we stand at the threshold of this pivotal moment in history, we are reminded that the Battle of the Bulge was not merely a clash of arms, but a testament to the human spirit's capacity for resilience, adaptability, and courage. The stage is now set for one of the most epic battles of World War II, as the Allies and Germans clashed in a struggle that would determine the fate of Europe. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we continue our journey through the epic struggle of World War II, specifically the Battle of the Bulge. Today, we delve into the heart of the battle, where the Allies and Germans clashed in a maelstrom of steel, fire, and snow. The German counterattack, code-named Wacht am Rhein, began on December 16, 1944, with a massive artillery barrage that shook the frozen landscape of the Ardennes. The initial assault caught the Allied forces off guard, as the Germans poured through the gaps in the American lines, exploiting the thin defenses and pushing deep into Belgian territory. The SS Panzer Corps, led by General Josef Dietrich, spearheaded the attack with its elite armored units and infantry divisions. As the battle raged on, the Allies found themselves facing unimaginable hardships. The harsh winter conditions, with temperatures plummeting to -20 degrees C, made every aspect of warfare a grueling challenge. Troops struggled to stay warm, vehicles froze in place, and the dense forests became a nightmare of icy terrain and limited visibility. Despite these challenges, the American forces, led by General Dwight D. Eisenhower, began to rally and regroup, determined to stem the German tide. One of the most critical moments in the battle came on December 19, 1944, when General George S. Patton's Third Army was ordered to pivot northwards from their positions in France to reinforce the beleaguered American troops in the Ardennes. This daring maneuver, which would become one of the most celebrated in military history, involved a 90-degree turn by over 133,000 troops with thousands of vehicles and equipment, all while under constant German attack. As Patton's forces pushed into the fray, they encountered fierce resistance from the German army, but their arrival marked a turning point in the battle. The Americans began to push back against the German advance, slowly but surely, as the tide of the battle started to shift in their favor. The town of Bastogne, which had been encircled by the Germans, became a symbol of American resilience, as the 101st Airborne Division, led by General Anthony McAuliffe, held out against overwhelming odds. The legendary response of General McAuliffe to the German demand for surrender, "Nuts," has become an iconic moment in military history, encapsulating the unyielding spirit of the Allied forces. As the battle raged on, the Allies continued to gain ground, with the British and Canadian forces playing a crucial role in supporting the American effort. The period between December 20 and 25, 1944, saw some of the most intense fighting of the war as the Germans launched desperate counterattacks to break through the Allied lines. The skies above the Ardennes became a battleground, with dogfights between Allied and German aircraft, while on the ground, tanks clashed in fiery explosions and infantry units fought house-to-house battles. As Christmas Day dawned on the battle-scarred landscape of the Ardennes, the Allies had begun to gain the upper hand. The German army was exhausted, its forces depleted, and its supply lines stretched to the breaking point. The Allied victory, though still uncertain, was within sight as the soldiers on both sides caught their breath and steeled themselves for the final push. And so, dear listeners, we pause at this critical juncture in our narrative as the Battle of the Bulge hangs in the balance. The stage is set for the final act of this epic struggle, where the Allies will push forward, determined to shatter the German army and bring an end to the war. Join us next time on History with Herodotus as we conclude our journey through the Battle of the Bulge and explore the aftermath of this pivotal moment in modern history. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we continue our journey through the epic struggle of World War II, specifically the Battle of the Bulge. Today, we delve into the final act of this pivotal moment in modern history as the Allies push forward to shatter the German army and bring an end to the war. The period between December 26, 1944 and January 6, 1945 saw a series of fierce battles as the Allies launched a massive counterattack to encircle and destroy the German forces in the Ardennes. The American Third Army, led by General George S. Patton, played a crucial role in this effort, pushing northwards from their positions in France to link up with the British and Canadian forces. The Germans, however, refused to surrender, and the fighting was intense, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. One of the most significant battles during this period took place in the town of Houffalize, which had been a key German stronghold. On January 16, 1945, American forces from the Third Army finally captured the town, marking a major turning point in the battle. The Germans were forced to retreat, and their supply lines were severely disrupted, making it difficult for them to maintain their position. As the Allies continued to push forward, they encountered numerous examples of German atrocities, including massacres of civilians and prisoners of war. The most notorious of these was the Malmedy massacre, in which 84 American prisoners of war were killed by SS troops on December 17, 1944. These incidents only strengthened the Allied determination to bring the war to a swift end. The final push came in late January 1945 as the Allies launched a series of coordinated attacks along the entire front line. The German army was stretched to the breaking point and their defenses began to crumble. On January 28, 1945, the Americans recaptured the town of Saint-Mich, which had been a key German stronghold, marking the end of the Battle of the Bulge. The aftermath of the battle saw a significant shift in the balance of power on the Western Front. The German army had suffered over 100,000 casualties, including many experienced soldiers and officers, while the Allies had lost around 89,000 men. The battle had also marked a major turning point in the war, as the Germans were forced to retreat from the Ardennes and regroup their forces. As we conclude our journey through the Battle of the Bulge, it is clear that this pivotal moment in modern history was a testament to the bravery and determination of the Allied forces. The battle had been one of the most intense and bloody of the war, but ultimately it marked a major step towards the defeat of Nazi Germany. In the words of General Dwight D. Eisenhower, the Battle of the Bulge was a great and glorious victory, one that will be remembered for generations to come. As we reflect on this momentous event, we are reminded of the sacrifices made by the soldiers who fought and died in the Ardennes and the enduring legacy of their bravery and sacrifice. Join us next time on History with Herodotus as we explore other pivotal moments in history and examine the complex and fascinating stories that have shaped our world. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.